Cheers. This is the first episode of Holistics. I don't know if anyone's watching this, going to watch this, but if you're here or if you're not here, I guess it doesn't matter. But if you're here, cheers. Have a coffee, have a water, soda. If it's like later where you are, maybe you're having a beer or wine and winding after work. It's a crazy world. And this is a big step for me because I always wanted to do a podcast. And then I'm like, oh, should I just be talking about myself? This isn't just talking about me. It's just really like talk therapy. You know, sometimes you just need to talk. And sometimes it's just good to know there's someone out there listening, or maybe vice versa. Maybe you just want to listen to someone else talk about their problems, or it's not just about problems. So we are living in a very crazy, crazy time. And I wanted to do this podcast more as like a time capsule to look back at it one day, because there's something that I don't want to say it's bothering me, but it's like, it's hard not to think about it. And I don't know if a lot of people are thinking about it or they're not, but basically you keep seeing, well, I keep seeing all these videos of Elon Musk, and he keeps saying in 5 years, there's gonna be no jobs left. In 5 years, AI is taking over. Basically, this is all, I want to talk about the AI takeover because people my age, we're living through it, and we're living through a shift, and the whole world is experiencing and watching something that's never happened before. There's different evolutions of humanity, and things get better, and there's inventions. And, you know, back in the day before there were automobiles, there were horses, and there was, you know, watch all the old movies, and things evolve, obviously, and new technologies and new inventions and all that. Even with music, you know, I'm a musician, and I watched it when I was younger. We had mixtapes and cassettes and records, radio, and then it went to CDs. And then it went to Napster, if you remember that, and MySpace. And then, you know, it just naturally evolves. Now, people don't really listen to CDs anymore. People don't even have CD players. I mean, some people probably still have them. But, you know, it just evolves. And that's just life, right? Because, look, everyone's parents probably once at one point said, you know, in my generation back in the day, milk was 5 cents and going to the movies was 10 cents or whatever. And then, you know, now we're like, oh, remember back when candy bars were 50 cents and now they're like $3 for a candy bar? Okay, that's just life, right? Okay, back in the day. But now this is something we're living through that has never happened. I mean, maybe it's happened in other civilizations. I mean, if you're into that thing, if you heard of like Atlantis and Lemuria, and if you're into that stuff and you know about lost civilizations, there's a reason I'm bringing it up, is that we're talking now about altering humanity. Machines and robots are going to be taking over. I mean, they already are. And it was about 3 years ago. Well, let's go back a little bit further, a lot further actually. And I can't believe it's been almost 10 years, 11 years since I wrote it. It's called the Reconnection Movement. And it was a PDF. It was just like a download thing I wrote. You could download it. I wrote it, and this was about 10 years ago. And it feels like yesterday. But I remember being out, and I know where I was when I wrote it. I was in the Sunset Marquee in Los Angeles, in the, you know, the lobby or whatever. And I remember just looking around then, remember 10 years ago, and just looking around and being like, my God, everybody's on their phone. Cell phones were not a new thing, and I know everybody had phones, but even then I was looking, I'm like, I would go in and kind of just like look around, see, you know, hi, to connect, and everyone's like heads down. And I remember thinking then, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really gonna take over. So I wrote this whole thing, and it was like almost channeled out of me one night. I was staying at the Sunset Marquee Hotel, and I had, you know, written lyrics and things like that. But I was never like a big writer. And this was before ChatGPT. I didn't use that for this. And I just like sat down and I was like, I got to get this out. And I started typing, and it was all coming out. It was like, we're the last generation and we're the in between. And I remember thinking something is really happening. Now, obviously, then AI came, but this was before AI. This was 10 years ago. And then like 3 years ago, I started seeing AI coming more and more, right? And Elon Musk, 10 years ago, I didn't even know who Elon Musk was. And then it was about 3 years ago, or maybe longer, like 2021, 2022, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, everyone was talking about AI. It was coming. With like Elon Musk was talking about Joe Rogan and this, and he kept saying, you know, he's like, this is the biggest threat to humanity, AI it's going to become more dangerous. It's going to become smarter than humans. And I remember even then I was like against it. I was like, oh man, what is this going to mean for artists? What is it going to mean for music? I was like, I even had a shirt made. It was like, say no to AI, right? This is true. This was like 3 years ago. And again, prior to that, I guess 7 years prior to that, I'd written the Reconnection Movement. My point is that now, from those 3 years ago, look at the speed. Boom. Like it's everywhere. And now I keep seeing these videos of Elon Musk. Like they're all on my feed. I don't know if everyone else is getting these. And they're just like, you're not going to have to work in a couple years. All the jobs are going to be gone. It's going to be different. It's going to be the income, this, that. And I'm thinking, wow, like it's coming to life what I said. And I'm sure other people predicted this too. This is not about me being like, hey, I told you. My point is saying, like, we're living in a very, very historical time. Like, I don't know if this has ever happened before. If you believe or if you read about other civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria, Atlantis was one. I remember reading like their technology got so big and out of control that they like self-imploded. And it would just made me feel like, well, is that what's going to happen here? Like, are the robots going to take over? And why I think it's so important right now for people our age to talk about it and to be like, what's going on? We're going to be saying one day, remember when people were human? Like, that's coming, I feel. I mean, it's already here. We're merging with these machines, and like, you're not even going to be able to know, is that a robot or is that real? Like, we're already experiencing it, seeing it, right? Like with voiceovers and the pictures. Was that really that person? No, that was AI. And they're making these things, and we're just like living through this crazy, strange world that we're literally now the last of humanity. I think the people my generation, older, a little bit younger, we are the last part of that split, because everybody now, every child born into this world is going to be born into this new paradigm. It's just all cell phones. It's all technology. They're just going to know it. And they're not going to know what it feels like to ever do those simple things without relying on phones for everything, without relying on technology, always being plugged into everything. And I think that's sad. But at the same time, they're never going to know. So they don't know what they're missing. I think that leaves us in a weird spot because we do know what we're missing. We do remember what it's like for those simple days, longing for like the simplicity of life a bit. And I think that's why I wanted to do this podcast. Everybody's welcome, obviously, to watch it. It would be great. I hope there are younger people who watch it. But I think it's for people who like kind of feel in that generation in between where we were just watching and like, wow, we're watching this really split and shift. Our parents, if you're my age, late 30s, early 40s, your parents are older, most of them. And they like, I know my mom in particular, she hates cell phones. Like I have an aunt who's even older, but she will do the cell phone and she does do text. So some people do it. My mom is just against it. She hates any kind of technology and, I get it. But then there's people like us and a little older, there's no choice. You have to be involved with it. So again, we're just in this weird world of like foot in the old. Our heart could be in the old, but you have to be in the new. You can't do anything without it. You need your banking. There's some places you can't pay for anything without if you don't have a debit thing on your phone or scan or this or that. And it's just like, just living through it's weird. And like I said, I wanted to do this just really kind of as a time capsule because I'm telling you, looking back at the Reconnection Movement over 11 years ago, and then 3 years ago when I was like really seeing AI coming out faster with all everything, the ChatGPTs. I didn't know what ChatGPT was until like 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years ago. I've been using it now. I'm not going to lie. I used it a lot. I mean, it's good, but it's just like, wow. So you could see the dangers that are coming. And I think it's up to people, again, like us, who are worried about it and having the regulations for it because you can't stop it. It's not even a point like when I used to wear my t-shirt, say no to AI. No, you can't stop it. I mean, you can't beat it, join it. But they're even saying if you don't learn AI, if there's going to be no jobs left. You have to learn AI, but then robots are going to take over everything. And I don't know. I think it kind of leaves people my age and older like, what are we going to do? They did say though that on one of those videos, I keep getting them all. It's like some of the jobs is going to be a creative job and musicians are important. And I'm like, really? Because AI is taking over music too. I mean, you could write a song in like 2 minutes. You just put in the words and it comes out with this, whole song that would take me a lot of money to record in the studio, time to write. So that's a whole other story, and the music and the AI. So I would love to talk more about that, but I'll just stick to the basics. But I could go down that road because I'm a musician, and I actually do see some benefits of it, and I see a lot of drawbacks and a lot of, it's going to take the soul out of music. It already has. There's so much you don't even know, like what's real and what's not. I think you do know what's not real. You could probably feel it and hear it. But I think there's going to be a need and a resurgence for some humans. Now, that's only going to be a need for it, I think, if people make it important and a priority, people our age, to remind others what being human is. Not even joking. I think it's going to be somewhere like, this is what making videos, tutorials, like this is what it is to be human. Like these are empathy, these are emotions. This is something AI can't teach. This is something AI doesn't do, to younger kids coming up. Because there's so many social problems and issues of kids not being able to connect. Like not even just kids. Like we just rely on it so much. You could just go out and you don't have to look at each other anymore. You don't have to learn how social skills or empathy. It's just like, and it's dangerous. You're taking out the soul and the human connection, the emotion and interaction, and it makes people lonely. Going back to the Reconnection Movement, that's what it was. It was saying we're saying we're in the most connected age ever, but it's also very disconnected. And I think a lot of people are lonely, and the rates of, I don't know, I don't have the statistics in front of me, so I don't want to misquote, but suicide and stuff is people are really lonely, even though they're just a button and a click away, because with so many computers and everything just right at your disposal, it's just like you forget the human behind it, dehumanizing, becoming dehuman. We don't care about each other as much. The empathy is missing. And again, not everybody, but the majority of people who still have those feelings are the older people who know what they are, those feelings. They grew up with them, Again, we can't blame generations of kids coming into it. They don't know any better. They didn't learn any different. They literally have to be part of it because you can't survive if you're not in it. So I just wonder, like the speed of AI. And when he's starting to say in 3 or 4 years, you better make your money now. There's going to be no need for you. There's going to be no need for jobs. And I believe it because it's going fast. Like 3 years ago to now, it's moving at the speed of lightning, and now it's even going faster. So in a couple of years, he might be right. And these guys know what's up. They run the world. So I think they have a pretty good idea. So I think that's one that I want to say it's heavy on my mind, but it dictates a lot of your future plans. I remember he even said something like, no, you don't even need a retirement account and this and that, and people working their whole lives for money, it's not going to need. And I'm just like, anyway, we're the last of the humans here. And I think it's important to remind people what it is to be human, what it really is. And that's what this show is about, because I like to look into the deeper questions of what is life? What is consciousness? Like, what are we doing here? What is our purpose? Are we just here to accumulate stuff and just do? Are we supposed to be evolving into higher beings and higher things? And everybody has a different life experience. Everyone has a different perspective. Everyone's experience have shaped their perspectives, which everyone has that right to have. We all come down here and we're all living our own life. We're our own main character in our life. And it's just crazy. I hate politics. I hate organized religion. I hate people fighting about that. Like, it's just, can you just realize we're all human? And that's why I brought this up. Like, to think, it makes me sad to think it could be the end of humanity, that we're going to lose. And we're only going to lose it if people our age in this generation don't fight a little bit and say, wait a minute, there's no stopping AI, but we got to hold our ground and have some morals and have some like regulations, and remember that, no, humans are first, AI is second. But I'm worried about it because he's saying AI is going to take over. A lot of people are saying it, but it's up to us to say, we got to remember that human element and be it and live it. It's easy to just give in, I guess, and just go with the flow. But I think it's very important for people to, in this time right now, because in 5 years, it could be a very, very different place if he's right. And we're going to look back and be like, wow, what happened to the humans? Where are they all? Again, because we're the last of the generation. Once we die off, there's no one more left who really remembers the good old days. Who doesn't remember. And I think that's sad. Oh, look at my light just went. It's just like a ghost in here. Maybe they agree. It just went really bright. The problem is if it goes really bright, you can't read what it says. It says holistics. There you go. It's go like dim. I bought this dimmer separately. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. I don't know. Okay. It's back. I don't know. I just think we have a duty. Even with art and music and creation, yeah, there's going to be no need for it, right? But there is, because even on the list of jobs, it said there still needs to be original ideas and people to actually create and put the things into the AI for them to do it. But art and music and learning skills that we used to have to learn, like, even as a musician, you had to kind of know how to sing or play your instrument, and now you don't have to know anything. So you're not really a musician, I guess. But those are the things that are going to become obsolete unless there's people like us who preserve it. And if you have, I don't have children myself, but if you have kids, you teach your kids these things too. Like, yes, you have to live in the world, and there's AI and there's robots, but this is what a human is, and this is, learn to write. I don't even think kids don't have to do cursive anymore or learn how to do these things. Or I don't even know if kids learn like penmanship and all that anymore. Do you have to? You just type. Again, is that a bad thing? Or is that just like the evolution, the way of the world? Just type. And that, I don't know. But that's different. That's what we learned. But like back in the day, they learned to type on a typewriter. My mom and dad probably, we didn't, I think we had typing class, but you know what I mean? So those things are like, okay, this is just a different way we do it now. We don't use that anymore. But being human, that's something. And when we say human is emotion, human is heart, human is soul, human is independent, is brains, thinking. And that's a scary thing. The supercomputer, it's smarter than any human. Sure, could do a math problem in like half a second or less than that, like 0.1, whatever. Speed of light, it could do anything, right? You put something into ChatGPT, it's like, boom, it's like, whoa, that's crazy. What it would take us long time to do. That's why sometimes I'm grateful for it. I think there's some good things about it, but when you think about it, the one thing it can't do is it doesn't have real emotion, doesn't have like heart, it doesn't cry, doesn't have soul, and those are the things that the humans have. So if we don't, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking aloud. Like I said, I'm just doing this for myself, really. And if there's anyone else who's worried about it, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message, or we could talk about it. I don't know. I just think it's a very crazy, interesting time to be alive. Interesting is maybe not the right word, but we're living through the biggest shift of humanity like ever, because it could be the possibility of no more humans. So it's kind of a big deal. So those are the things that go through my head. And cheers. I think it's time for a coffee break. Are you enjoying the podcast? If you'd like to support what I'm building, you can buy me a coffee. Every bit of support helps me keep this podcast going and release my music independently. You can leave a one-time tip or become a member for a few dollars a month and unlock exclusive content and behind-the-scenes footage you won't find anywhere else. Just visit buymeacoffee.com/Hollis Mahady or scan the code you see on the screen. Need some new tunes to listen to? Why not try the Hollis Mahady Music Collection? As I move towards the new, I'm closing an old chapter with gratitude. To celebrate the new music on the horizon, I've gathered my complete past collection and made it available all in one place. The collection includes 2 full albums with my previous band, Love Zombies, Passion Fruit, and No Slow songs recorded live at Abbey Road Studios, the Be Honest EP with Love Zombies, Hollis original songs, Hollis cover songs, a bonus Christmas album. And this collection represents the journey that brought me here today and the doorway into what's next. To purchase the music collection, head over to hollismahady.com and go to the store. All funds raised go directly towards promoting and advertising my new album on my own label, Voice of Freedom Records. Thanks so much for supporting independent music. Oh, so yeah. So what I wanted to do, I talked about the Reconnection Movement. So like a couple of years ago, I did look at it and I read it. I don't really remember everything, but I read it and was like, wow. And that was just a couple of years ago. And I made it into a PDF. I put a new like cover on it. And I thought maybe I could read it right now on the camera, on air. I mean, you could read it yourself. And I want to look back to what I said because I haven't read it in so long. And now like applying where we are right now today to that, which was written in, I don't know, 2015 or something. So I'm going to get that out. You could read along or you could go and download it afterwards. But I just kind of want to read it to see where we are. Okay, so I'm going to read it. But if you want to go and if you want to get the copy of it for free, you can. You just go to hollismahady.com. I'll put it down on the bottom. Go there. And then go on the side. If you're on your phone or on your website, just go to podcasts. Okay, and then just scroll to the bottom. And you could put your email in and it'll pop right up. It's the whole thing I wrote. And this was my friend Chris. I loved him. I love him. He was a great supporter and friend in the UK. And he helped me do this like logo a long time ago. And yeah, so I'm going to read it and see how it applies today. Okay. And you could read along or you could just read it later or just listen. I used to do audiobooks and stuff like that. So I like to read. So here we go. The Reconnection Movement. And this says, what did I say? Okay. I said, I wrote this in 2015 and I have purposely left it unaltered. Resurfacing now with even greater urgency, the need for such a movement is more critical than ever before. As AI continues to advance, the threat it poses to humanity and the world has become increasingly evident. The call to action made by the Reconnection Movement remains as relevant as it was in 2015, offering a beacon of hope for safeguarding the future of humanity amidst the dangers posed by AI. So, like we said, it's just something you can't ignore. So I don't know if it's all bad. As I said, I don't think it's all bad. I think it does some amazing things. I'm not going to lie. I won't talk about the music part. We could save that for another conversation, but I think there's some good to it. But I also think it could be very dangerous if it's not regulated. And even Elon Musk said that. He's scared it's like going to be out of control. And if it falls into the wrong hands, which let's face it, who knows who's really controlling it? What could happen? So the reconnection. Okay, so it's very obvious we live in a world of technology these days. 2015, the computer age. As I write this, I'm observing my surroundings, and 5 out of 5 people in the hotel lobby I sit in are busy on their phones or smartphones. And as an experiment, I look around with a smile to see if I can connect with anyone. Nothing. This is sadly not an unfamiliar situation this day and age. How many times have we been out to lunch or to dinner when there is a lull in conversation and someone whips out their iPhone, or better yet, even puts it down long enough to begin with in order to have a real conversation? I remember getting AOL dial-up when I was about 14 years old. Up until that point, I don't really even know exactly what a computer was. Didn't know. Well, besides playing the Oregon Trail on a really old computer in the 4th grade. You know what? I'm glad that I had those 14 or so years free from technology. My developmental years were filled with toys from the outdoors like kickballs, dodgeballs, swing sets, and swimming pools. I played the piano on an actual piano as opposed to playing it on an app, and I didn't learn to play the guitar from playing Guitar Hero. I remember my mom telling me stories of her own childhood, and which all revolved around nature, living on a farm, trips to the lake, and playing cards and listening to records. What I was saying, right? Now, I watch my friend's baby as she plays on the iPad and her new toy is the iPhone 6. She's totally immersed in what's happening on the screen and oblivious to anything else going on in the world around her. Computers and phones have taken many people's, not only babies' attentions away from what's happening in the world around them. The physical records and CDs are gradually becoming extinct due to the evolving and changing formats of the music in the 21st century. Everything is now virtual. The demise of bookstores is happening as everyone now downloads books onto their Nooks and other devices. Video stores have closed. Remember video stores? Video stores have closed due to internet streaming on sites such as Netflix and Hulu. The thrill of getting a new CD, admiring the artwork, carefully reading the lyrics, and listening to the whole thing from start to finish rarely happens for most people anymore, thanks to the popularity of iTunes singles and other instantaneous, gratifying music download sites, right? So true. Reading this on the phone sucks. Let me turn it like this. Okay, this is better, I think. The few of these stores and shops that do remain open to this day seem to have a bleak future. So what's the result of all this? No more bookstores, music stores, video shops, etc. equals less and less human interaction. Human interaction. Well, now that everything's just so quick and convenient, do we even need human interaction? Just as the bookshops, music stores, and the video stores are becoming outdated mode of life in the current world we live, is the art of human interaction and meaningful human connection becoming obsolete as well. Everything and anything is now available at the click of a mouse. You can now order your groceries straight to your door, or even have a mail-ordered bride delivered to your doorstep. I don't know if that was before. That was for a long time, I think, going on. There is no longer a real need for a middleman to be part of the process, officially eliminating the need for human interaction. Everything, even people, are now at each other's disposal. If you don't like what you see, why get to know someone? Just keep on clicking until you find the next best thing that you think you're looking for. Well, the times, they are certainly a-changing, or have changed immensely, but for better or worse. Before I go on to talk about how I personally feel, and yes, this is just my personal opinion, and you're welcome to read it and agree or disagree, and that's the beauty of free thought, about living, accepting the changes and challenges, and trying to survive in this virtual age, I want to say that I'm not some totally anti-technology, like some of our parents, hippy-dippy person who believes we should all throw out our cell phones and computers and go back to living in the age where telephones were made out of cans and strings and letters delivered by a horse. No, I admit there are many advantages and conveniences of all this newfound technology. With the natural progression of evolution and man's advancements, adapting to new ideas and lifestyles is inevitable and unescapable. I'm amazed and grateful to a certain degree by these advancements and the amount of information available this day and age. There's an incredible amount of information available on such a diverse array of topics on the internet. You can connect and chat with people you may never have met anywhere else other than this information superhighway. Dating websites have actually allowed people a way to connect and form legitimate non-virtual relationships outside the computer. I have to say I love my iPhone and camera as much as the next person, and being a musician, I recognize all the advantages of being able to create and sell my own music and merch online. Artists are able to independently exhibit their work online without the tight grip of a record label's control and gain exposure that was once never possible. Friends and families are able to keep in close contact while living states or even countries apart. And while those social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X I should say now, and the rest of the bunch may have in many ways reconnected people, like that old high school mate you haven't seen in 20 years or your long lost pen pal from France that used to write to 15 years ago in French class, I have to say I feel it has also brought about what is intended to prevent a disconnection. Yes, the age that claims to be the most connected age ever, I believe is actually quite the opposite. Sure, we are all now quite capable of sitting at our computer screens and phones all day and are able to quickly download the latest iPhone app or iPad upgrade. But can you honestly ever think back to the last time you had dinner or drinks with friends where there was no phones or electronic devices present? Can you think back to an outing when people were engaging in mind, body, or soul interaction for more than 5 minutes without getting interrupted by a cell phone or some other distraction? Leads me to ask, what's up with our attention spans? Have humans really become so boring that they can't hold the attention spans of another for a mere 5 minutes? Have our virtual relationships with computers taken precedence over our relationships with the real thing? Is it more important to give the latest Facebook update, post a tweet, or upload a picture on Instagram about what you're doing instead of actually living and being present in that moment? Is it really necessary to have your cell phone camera filming a concert the whole time? I've always wondered, does anyone actually go back and watch the footage they were so busy filming on their phones at the concerts? Or have your phone in the sauna at the gym? Is anyone else asking themselves what the beep is happening to this world? What is this meaningless, pointless bull beep all about? I haven't read this in a long time. We're surrounded by machines, but does that mean now that we are becoming machines too? I find myself looking around, ready to smile at people walking by, hoping to catch some eye contact, a glimmer of someone awake and alive in the moment. How are you? More often than not, I'm disappointed by the lack of human connection I encounter on a daily basis. Most people's eyes are glued downward to their phones or whatever electronic device they're holding on to, making the probability of chance, random encounter, or connection slim to none. After voicing my concerns to a few people I know, I found that many people actually seem to be coming to the same conclusion and may be wondering what the future holds for this seemingly transforming robot generation. Cheers. Since I'm an artist and musician, I have heard the theory that Artists are just overly sensitive, the tortured soul, and I agree with that to some extent. Although lately, more and more people I've spoken to about the subject, not just artists, seem to agree with this. There's a common thread of loneliness and separation that is running between many people my age, and I have to wonder if it's because we all grew up to a certain age where we had a real human connection to other people. A time when friends really talked to each other and people got together for the sake of it without constantly rushing to the next thing. A time when kids could be kids and do things without being worried about some internet bully sneaking a picture to later use as blackmail on the internet. That time before cell phones, when we were forced to talk to the person in front of us rather than the person on the other end of the text message, and hone our social skills during outings rather than use our technological devices as a social crutch. So where does this leave my generation? Are we the generation that's stuck in between? And then I have like little pictures there. I added some pictures there. That's a picture of a robot. We are the last of the people to grow up in a world before technology seemed to take over the world. Most of my developmental years involved real human interaction where computers or phones were not my babysitters and did not play a part in shaping who I've become. I've had that feeling and knowing of what it was like to grow up and live in a world before this. I was lucky enough to grow up being close to nature and had real human interactions. The problem with us people who are stuck in between is that unlike the generations being born into this knowing no other way, we remember what it was really like to be connected to other humans and not just virtually connected. Now it has left our hearts and souls remembering and therefore yearning for this feeling of how it once used to be. I spent my whole life on a quest to find purpose and meaning in life, to find love and that feeling of wholeness. The more and more I tried, the lonelier it seemed to get. The seeds were planted for writing this movement a few years ago, when I was looking outside myself and getting angry at everyone else for being so disconnected. Of course, back then I blamed computers and phones for all my misery, but I eventually realized that though it would be awesome to meet some people I connected with, who I really needed to meet and connect with again was myself. It wasn't really other people that would fill me up or who I needed to be connected with so badly. It was myself that I needed to be reconnected with. I don't think it is any of our faults for the disconnection epidemic going on in the fast-paced world today. We have been conditioned by a materialistic society that distracts us from the real beauty and purpose in life and puts the majority of focus and energy on earning money, over-consuming, and the belief that everything we need to make us happy is outside of us. A new boyfriend or girlfriend, a great job, status, the perfect body, money, power, or a career are the things that will fill that empty, nagging, tugging void inside of us. These are all the fixes that will satisfy the ego temporarily until they vanish and the nagging, tugging feeling of emptiness returns once again. Of course, what I'm saying is not a new revelation, and the same themes and magical solutions to life's big questions run throughout almost all of the hundreds of self-help and improvement books on the market. The problem I have found with these books is that once I've read them, having taken it all in and have consciously made an effort to apply it, suggestions to my own life, I eventually always slip back to the old conditioned patterns ingrained in my consciousness and supported by the majority of society. I look around at everyone else and wonder if anyone else has actually read these books too, or try to apply them to their lives with only short-lived success like myself. The saying always popped in my head, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Though at times it seemed like an easier solution to the problem at hand, it was still really never an option for me. I've always stood firmly on the outskirts of society and refused to join the masses of zombie-like robots inhabiting Earth, opting to take a stand and continue on the quest for my own individual truth and self-empowerment, rather than following blindly and fearfully behind others' opinions, like lambs being led to slaughter. See, I was a rebel. This is before ChatGPT. I wrote this in 2015. That's what I'm saying. It like almost channeled out of me. This is pretty good. And I just wrote this. Okay, so back to this. The Reconnection Movement is about seeking out those in the minority and building a team of support to help each other with the challenges we face when we choose to follow the path of our hearts and dreams and take back our individual power that has been robbed from us. There is power by numbers. Should probably say in numbers, and only by joining together those people with the same goals who seek truth and are willing to fight for a better world and more balanced allotment of power will we become pioneers of the Reconnection Movement, and a new earth will begin to blossom. Once you dive into the rabbit hole and awaken, as some people put it, you do begin to go further and further down the hole and start to unveil a lot of information about the small percent of powers that be who are ruling society and trying hard to keep it hidden from the public eye. Conspiracy. Some people call it conspiracy, I call it the truth. And if you begin to look at the facts they are there to prove it. I have to give them credit for doing a damn good job of keeping the majority of people ignorant of their true potential, which keeps us stuck in the belief that we aren't good enough or we don't deserve a life better than merely surviving and getting by. We were meant to thrive in this world, not just survive. The good life was not selected for the privileged few, although it may seem that way. I began to ask myself many years ago questions like, why do so few have so much and so many have such little? Why aren't more people following the money and seeing what is really going on? I sincerely feel that we were not put on the earth to suffer. Although some life lessons that we go through in order to accelerate our spiritual growth as a human may be painful, ultimately we were meant to enjoy the physical experience of being a living spiritual being and enjoy the abundance the world has to offer. We have been fooled and manipulated to believe that there is not enough. We have been led to believe that there's a lack of abundance and scarcity in the world. This is not true. There just happens to be a large imbalance of power going on and unequally distributed allotment of resources. I made the decision to fight for the people who have nothing and dedicate my life as an artist and activist to connect people and let them know that they are not alone, because most of my time on this planet thus far, I have felt terribly alone and wish someone had been there for me with some explanations of why we feel this way. We have tremendous power as human individuals once we connect back to our true divinity and source and raise our energetic frequency. Once we do this, there will be a major power shift in the world that the people in control do not want to happen. Aside from the computers and gadgets distracting us from the real issues going on in our planet today and disconnecting us from ourselves, other factors like fear tactics, environmental conditions, pharmaceuticals, mind control, radiation from electronic devices, and drugs and alcohol keep us in a lower vibrational state like fear and depression. Foods and fluoride, toxic water consumption are major players in disconnecting us from our divine source. Our pineal gland, if you guys heard of that, aka our third eye, you can look it up if you're not familiar with the term, becomes calcified through fluoride found in our drinking water and chemicals and toxins found in the processed foods, both of which modern day society has made almost impossible to avoid. The pineal gland in most people is barely activated due to these environmental conditions and food consumption. When the pineal gland is healthy and awake, and it has been said it is a direct link to higher consciousness states, where humans can naturally experience more divine love and live in less fear. When the opposite occurs and our pineal glands become calcified, as most people's are, they experience lower energetic states and frequencies, including fear, anxiety, depression, and ultimately the illusion of disconnection. They stay tuned into the third dimensional reality that focuses on only seeing exactly what's in front of them. They then form addictions to things like drugs and alcohol and prescription pills to numb the pain they face on a daily basis, becoming one of the many people that strengthens the machine in the never-ending cycle of falsely diagnosed patients with depression or one of the many other names we have given to our man-made diseases. We pay everyone else to fix our problems without realizing that in most cases we have the ability and always have had the power inside to heal ourselves.
Download your free copy of the Reconnection Movement today. Just head over to my website, www.hollismahady.com. Go to the podcast sections, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter your email to get your free copy instantly. Now more than ever, it's important that we reconnect and support real human creators and real people.
I find it a bit alarming that the majority of people I talk to don't even know what the pineal, some people say pineal gland, or its function is, considering there are many opinions that it's the biggest proven link to our spirit thus far. At the same time, I realize it may not be the fault of our own that we are not aware of this information. Many great legendary teachers in the world have reached such elevated states of consciousness. A lot of their followers perhaps seem to forget that these teachers came to earth to teach us and remind us who we are, and that we ourselves are very powerful, and we have our own tools already inside of us, which make us capable of creating and living a joyous, fulfilling life, and not one full of misery. What if you were told people were deliberately doing this to you, keeping you disconnected on purpose and pulling the wool over your eyes and keeping you stuck in miserable situations without the thought of a way out or a better existence? To think someone else in a way is playing God. Would you be pissed off? I know I was. This is what started me on my journey and opened my eyes. Soon after, I eventually woke up and stopped eating the BS, literally. Sometimes we have to go to the darkest places where we can't continue the way we have been anymore for a change to occur. This is when people wake up and realize they are co-creators of their own existence. Some people won't, and that's their choice. This movement and network is for the people who do and who are awake and conscious, or at least want to be. Those who feel something stirring deep inside them when reading this means somewhere deep down in their soul connects and recognizes some of this information on some level. It's for those who are curious and open-minded. There have been many dreamers throughout history have spoken of a utopian world. Is it just a hopeless, intangible dream, or can it ever really happen on Earth? If most people are disconnected from their own divine source, how can we possibly expect to be connected to others? The answer is we can't. It's not until there's a large movement or enough people who start to say, wake up and start living a new way of life that transcends the way we currently have been conditioned to live, that a change can really occur. As I said before, there are power in numbers. We first stop supporting the old way of doing things. We have to put the power back in our own hands. And the power shift and the new way of living is more peaceful, fulfilling, heart-oriented way begins to grow. Corporations and companies who control us will collapse. It's not just a utopian dream, as it's possible, but we have to start somewhere, and someone has to take a stand. It's not something that will happen overnight, and I'm not telling anyone to go out and immediately quit their jobs, but I'm asking people to at least become aware. The majority rules, and right now the majority of power lies in the money-hungry, greedy monsters of the world. A lot of people don't seem to give a shit about the state of our world, but many people do. Those are the people who need to band together and make a movement. Until then, the suffering will continue. Is it really a wonder why there's so much suffering in the world? Why does it seem we're hearing more and more about heinous bombings and school shootings more and more? I believe it's because we're becoming majorly disconnected and dehumanized. The disconnection between people is so bad that no longer do people look at each other as equals, soulmates who are sharing the same living body, the energetic source field where all energy on earth comes from. The fact is, though, that we are equal. We're all equal. We're all free spirits and not meant to be servants to each other, but servants to a higher good. We're all here, hopefully, searching for a purpose, for love. We're all sharing this human experience. It's a beautiful thing to look that we are all here sharing this amazing mystery. Yet at the same time, everyone seems to be so distracted and complete strangers, and okay with that. I'm making this movement, the Reconnection Movement, to bring people back together. People who are lonely, people who are taking a chance and following their soul's calling and following the path less traveled. For the people who believe in themselves but may not have anyone else who does. For the people who are scared to admit they are lonely, confused, or depressed and want support. For the people who are scared and embarrassed to admit just how screwed up they really feel. For the people who feel like they don't even have a chance for a better or more meaningful life. For the people who really never fit in. For the loners and the outcasts. The people who are single and alone. People who are married but still missing something. People who need support, positivity, encouragement, and empowerment in their lives. For the victims who are experiencing ego-controlling love rather than the right kind of friendship and love we all yearn for. Those who are sick of the naysayers and negative attitudes they often encounter. Those who are looking for greater fulfillment beyond the material world. People who feel as lost as I do a lot of the time and are looking for real human connection. We are all here on earth to fulfill our life and soul's purpose, not to suffer, not to make money, to buy crap and die and rot away. We're here to learn, to grow, and to evolve. We're here for love. And love doesn't have to be about sex or physical love. It's about recognizing a soul and having love for that. Hence the term soulmate. We're all soulmates. Of course, some people have stronger connections with some than others, but in the end, we are all brothers and sisters, like it or not. And we're all here not really knowing I cursed in this, what the fuck to do. Beep. And trying to make the best out of it. We are here and have been fooled into believing that real love is about sex and happiness is about material wealth and power. Humans are made of love, although a lot of us have seemed to have forgotten this simple concept. There's a serious case of amnesia going around. Amnesia is a song on my album. So it took a long time. This has taken a long time to do the album too. It's crazy looking back at this. There's a serious case of amnesia going around. It's time to wake up, and that is what the Reconnection Movement is all about. Have you ever wondered why people constantly refer back to that time of hippie movement in the 1960s and 70s? The peace, love, and harmony time? It was a time when musicians sang about their brothers and sisters. They were fighting in Vietnam. They protested their voices so their friends didn't have to be drafted away. They were sacrificing their own safety for others. America has recently been in war for over 10 years, and there were troops dying every day to protect our safety. Yet I don't remember hearing many, if any, songs on the radio addressing what's happening in the world. The hippie era was a time of free love, sisterhood, and brotherhood, a time when people were really connected enough to stand up for one another, to stand up for what they believed in, a time when people had something to believe in. Why are artists like John Lennon and Bob Marley to this day so revered as artists and men who changed the world through their music? They spoke about love and peace, something many people deep down connect with because they remember somewhere in their amnesic, infected brains that love and peace is why we're here. They had something to say in their lyrics and used their voice to touch people. Many people refer back to that magical time in history because there's not been anything since that has even come close to the caliber of impact that hippie movement and music of that era had. We've taken a major change in direction since, and while I've acknowledged there are clearly some advantages and benefits to this technology, I firmly believe that we're becoming less and less reliant on our own minds and more reliant on machines. Remember, this is 11 years ago. I did not write this with ChatGPT. This was just channeled through me. Computers have been taking over the whole world, not to mention most of the music industry. We are turning into computers, and not a lot of people seem to notice or even care. And we can't blame the kids because they were born into a world where this is all they know. We can only blame ourselves if we continue to support the current state of the world. I'm stuck in between. I feel like it's up to me and other people left in this lost generation who still have this unbridled passion burning inside. I want to gather like-minded artists and creatives who want to come together and make a stand, a movement, and make music, art, and writings that really address some of the major issues going on today. Those who do recognize what the heck is going on, and they see the danger we are in if people don't start to wake up. Danger for future generations to come and for our planet, our Mother Earth who lends us her home as we visit, yet we're ignorant and destroying her. I'm looking for the indigo and rainbow children and adults and the last people of our generation who grew up without computers or machines. Those who remember what it feels like to really connect with people. We are the hope for a new future. We are here to bring awareness. As the planet evolves, major technological advancements are part of that. And when used in moderation, these machines can provide wonderful advantages that make living life in some ways more convenient and pleasant. The machines themselves aren't technically the problem. It's the overconsumption, misuse of their power, and reliance of these machines that is the danger. The artificial intelligence that's replacing our own individual intelligence and ability to form our own opinions and beliefs is no longer a far-fetched story plot in a science fiction movie. It's alarmingly becoming our Earth's reality. I cursed again. I use a beep out word, but I'm not a beep computer. But I'm watching in horror as I see people turn into robots. I also had the song Robots and Aliens on my Love Zombies album. The real people present in the moment are starting to drizzle away, and meetings with those kinds are becoming few and far between. I've seen enough vacant looks in people's eyes. What the hell is going to happen to our babies, our younger generation who are born into this and know nothing else? It's up to us to help mold the future. Knowledge is power. Seeking wisdom and truth over money and control is a battle worth fighting. Why are we handing over our power to machines and letting a small group of greedy, money-hungry elitists run the world? Can we stop it before it's too late? Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is the end of this world as we know it. It's the end of real artists, musicians, peacemakers, and free thinkers. Music is power and the soundtrack to our lives. Our children deserve a soundtrack that is real, meaningful, and empowering, rather than one filled with redundant, recycled American Idol winners and empty, shallow, auto-tuned, plastic pop stars. Wow. I haven't read this in so long. I keep saying the same thing over 10 years ago. Okay, I'm going to finish it, and then I'm going to say where I am today. If we don't wake up, it's almost done. If we don't wake up and put a fight to stop it, we will only have ourselves to blame when in years to come, when we're all gone, there is no one left but robotic, mind-controlled people being controlled by the few. It's not fair to our children. Do it for them. They have the right to a connected and meaningful life like we had. This is one of the most important and crucial times in the history of our world, and the most important time for the real artists that are left to band together and make a movement. It's time to put down the freaking iPhone and computer for a minute, people. Put your heads up and reconnect. It's time for a new movement. The Reconnection Movement. Wow. Oh my gosh. See, there's a reason why I wanted to read that on camera. I'm not kidding. I didn't read that. I think I glimpsed at it, obviously, a couple years ago. It was right around, I don't remember, like three years ago, when I was seeing the rise of AI even faster. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to put the Reconnection Movement out. Like I wanted to do a movement of people our age, my age, older, people who understand what is at stake here, right? Like the future of humanity. I'm telling you, real artists, real musicians, people who are creating like with their mind, they still are not just going all to AI. Like I said, I even use AI. There are some cool things about it. I'm not going to lie. Like it is what it is. But that was 10 years ago. And for the last freaking 10 years, it took me that long to record my album. And I do have a song on it called Amnesia. It's crazy. And literally on Thursday, I'm going to do my photo shoot for this album that's taken me a lifetime to write. And I'm going to have a podcast about it. And it's called A Comedy of Errors, my album. Amnesia is one of the songs on it. And I wanted to put it out for so long. I'm having these revelations in real time. It's crazy. Like I knew it in my soul then. I saw it. I mean, other people, but I was like, this was even before, I didn't know what ChatGPT was. I don't even know who Elon Musk was. And 3 years ago, I saw then about the robots and how fast it was moving. And I was like, oh, we got to talk about the Reconnection Movement. We got to get people together. And that's why we built this platform. It's for free thinkers and the last of humanity, the last hope, like knowing there's content out there that's not all AI. Listen, I'm not going to lie. We use tools, clip up clips. Like, you have to use AI automation to do tasks because otherwise you can't compete and you can't do everything you need to do. But original ideas, original thought, original thinking, programming on the TV, like not programming, original programming, like thinking of funny things for TV shows and for, again, music and art and podcast ideas and things that engage and connect people, the last of the humans. Again, there's going to be two types where people don't even know what they're yearning for because they've never experienced it in younger people. And then there might be some that obviously there must be a lot because they're depressed over social media. There's, suicides and kids who are very lonely because that's not how we're meant to be. We're meant to have human connection, heart, love, touch, emotions, So it's kind of crazy. Again, that's why I wanted the first episode to talk about this. Because it's the basis of everything I've done, everything I've dedicated my life to. Most of my friends out there, people I've known, they all have kids, they all have families. I went down a different path and it never happened to me. I didn't meet the right person. I had lots of crazy relationships and toxic relationships and all this stuff. And it's live and learn. Sometimes I feel I missed out. And then there's other times I just feel, well, I was on a different path than other people. And I don't judge, and hopefully they don't judge me, but it's hard sometimes to feel like you're not being judged. Like, oh, you didn't do this. I was never really the typical 9-to-5 job, have the kids. Like, that's fine. And a lot of people do that. And trust me, it's an easier path. You're really lucky. But unfortunately, I went down a different path. I saw things that most people didn't see. I've experienced a lot of stuff. I saw some really dark things. I saw corruption. I saw bad things. I experienced good things too, but it was never your typical life. I've moved like a million times. But through all of it, I never lost the love for music. I never lost the love of soul, of hope, dreaming, of seeing like a better world that's not out there. That's why my imagination was always going. Even my album, it's called A Comedy of Errors. It has characters and magic. It's it helped. My way of thinking just helped me navigate through the world, the weird path I was on. Characters in my comedy of errors. Everything, if you look at life like that, it's like learning why are we really here. Life is hard. It can be really hard. This 3D realm of connections and people and disappointments and hurts and money and control and this and that. It's so much. The way I got through it was trying to look at things differently. Why is these things happening? Why did that happen? Why am I here to grow? With the soul grow? I have a bookshelf full of a lot of great books that I've read. And again, this may not be everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. You don't have to watch it, tune out if you're not. If you're into this stuff, that's great. I went down so many different paths, and I was always searching and yearning for something more. I just was always kind of bored with, just the outside. Like, this is what you do. This is where you're working. You get this, you get these physical, it just bored me. It was like, well, why? Who's on the top? What's going on? Like, what is this? Always connected, seeing like what else is out there.
I'm pulling back the curtain to let you in on a truly rare behind-the-scenes experience. Welcome to the Comedy of Errors podcast, your exclusive look at the music, the story, and the journey that goes into making it all happen. This podcast is for those who want to go deeper, explore the themes of life and music, and be part of something truly special. For just $10 a month, you'll get access to this one-of-a-kind community and help support the release and promotion of my new album. If you want in, head over to buymeacoffee.com and become a backstage member. This is the only place I'll be sharing this journey. See it all unfold in real time before it's released to the world. I can't wait to share this with you.
I've always been fascinated with afterlife and psychics and things like that, but I also love God too. I mean, you could be both. Like, I didn't know. And then I had all these different experiences. I remember in London with the Hare Krishnas, and then I moved to Maine and it was all Christian, and I learned from everybody. And that's why I say I don't like organized religion. That's where I don't really want to talk about religion. I hate when people fight about religion because it's so not the point. God is love. Whatever this is, something is bigger. And we know what love is. We do. Because we yearn for it. People go through the whole life. I need to meet that perfect soulmate. I need to meet my other half. I need to meet someone who fulfills me. But that's not really what will ever really fulfill us. It's like a connection with something higher, with love, with God, with self. It's hard. This world is hard. The Reconnection Movement was what I talked about. There's stuff deliberately done to disconnect us. And with the invention of the phones and everything in the last 15, 20 years, how everything's just like completely disconnecting us all the time. Can't even think. Oh, don't think. And that's what they keep us. They keep us distracted and stuck in this cycle. Like, just worry about bills. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are struggling. Like, you can't even think about the deep meaning and the questions of life. You have to pay the bills. You have to feed your kids. You have to go to 10 jobs to pay for who has time for that? So again, it's a blessing or curse. My freaking, sentence was, I didn't have kids and I have more time to think about all this stuff, which is that good or bad? I don't know. They say you're not crazy. You're just waking up. It's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. I love him. His name is Michael Miradad. I said, I'm going to talk a lot about him in this podcast because he really inspired a lot of my work. One of my songs on the album, Edenshire. I have some of his book. Hold on, let me see. Some of my books on here, Conversations with God, Destiny of Souls. It's upsetting. I can't find the book. If you're into this kind of stuff and you want another perspective, watch Michael Miradad. He's at the Sedona Center for Christ Consciousness, and it's not like a church religion. It's just like he just talks about the questions of life, and he's great. I love him. And anyway, and I was over there on my bookshelf, and I remember this book as well. It was called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and that also inspired a lot of my music. It's really good. So we could talk about that stuff. But anyway, I've been recording for a while, and yeah, I just think I'd have to do my part, being human, make a contribution to the world somehow. Maybe no one will care in 100 years. No, this will be irrelevant. Humans will not even be here anymore because that's where we're going. Not even 100 years. Go 10 years, 5 years, the way it's going. So that's what the last few years, reading the Reconnection Movement again. It inspires me, honestly. And I hope other people are out there who realize how important it is for us to maintain our humanity and how are we going to navigate that? Because there are people like us, our age, we're the last ones left, guys. As he said, you can't blame the younger generations. They're not going to know. They're not even going to know what it feels like. They're not going to know real human love if the generations go on and their parents didn't know it. And it's just going to be over. That's why I'm like, leave artifacts, leave fossils, leave videos, leave time capsules. Remember the time when we were still human? There was some left. It's going to be us. We're the last of it. And we have a duty, I feel, to care about AI and do something about it. Again, you can't stop it. I've said that like 100 times, but we can't stop it. But we're going to leave it in the hands of who knows, the elite in the top, whoever is controlling it all and making it happen to regulate it. Who's to say that robots don't just burst in your door and I don't know what they're capable of doing. These are things that could really happen. And before it's too late, I think it's just important to talk about it. So maybe I'll name this episode like the Reconnection Movement or AI or something about that. But again, I know I read the whole thing, maybe you zoned out, maybe you didn't see it, but you're more than welcome to go on my website, www. Do I have to say that anymore? www. It's Hollis Mahady, my name, .com. And go to podcast and scroll down and you can get it for free. Just put in your email and you could read the whole thing if you wanted to read it again or share it with someone. But if you're like me and you remember what it used to be like and you long for that, that's also why we made the Voice of the People TV and radio platform. It's a home for my art, for my music. It's home for other people like us who want to make a community and come together and create and put out really mission-aligned, meaningful content. There's so much content out there. It's like, it's so hard. You're competing with everything, but we're not trying to compete. Or it's actually like a safe haven, because when shit really hits the fan, which it seems like it already is, but in a couple of years when there's really no humans or it's just everyone's AI, and there's going to be people us like, what are we going to do? It's a safe haven. We're there for each other. We're a community. We're going through this together. It's really about going through it together. And I know there must be other people out there who question these things and who are worried and who wonder what we can do, or at least have someone to go through it with. Because I know there's 2 of us here who think the same way. So I know there's others out there. So please feel free to connect. Reach out, write a comment, let me know. This is where my weird mind goes, and my camera's about to die.